What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. I'm excited for today's guest. She's an amazing person. Actually, she's been a client of mine for a while, and she's doing amazing things in her industry and been waiting for this one for a while. She is a tremendous health and wellness coach, helping busy professionals quit sugar and reclaim their lives through LCHF, nutrition, fitness, mindset, and lifestyle changes. Help us welcome the one and only Meghann Hempel. How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Of course.
Pleasure having you.
We've been talking about it for a little bit, so you're now on. We're making it happen. No, we're
making it happen.
We're really excited because, you know, not only because, you know, you've been such an amazing individual to coach and see grow and the things you're doing, but also too because, you know, the story that you have to share and the things that you've gone through, the way you've built yourself up, the adversity you've faced to where it's led you to become now as an entrepreneur and a mom. I think it's incredible, and I think all of our listeners are going to be able to really, really dive into this one.
Thank you.
So Meghann, take us to Meghann back in the day. Was Meghann always this health and wellness individual? Was she always consumed into this lifestyle? Was this something that just came out as you faced certain challenges through your life?
Yes, definitely. No, I was not always healthy at all. My story is extremely lengthy. If you want me to get a little bit into that and kind of tell you, you know,
definitely.
where
dive
it has
into
led me
it.
today. All right, I'm going to dive into
Sweat
it.
it
So
out.
it's super lengthy, so I'm going to do my best to go through it as quickly and hit the bullet points. So basically, my journey really started probably around age 9. I was an extremely obsessive, compulsive child. My parents put me in and out of therapy. They thought they were doing the best for me. Nothing was working. So they thought the best option was to medicate me. So I was medicated at a very young age. After being medicated, I started to struggle with severe anxiety and depression. My childhood, basically, looking back, it was 100% taken away from me. I grew up living like a zombie. I was friends with everybody, but behind the curtain, I was suicidal. I was angry. I gained a lot of weight on these medications, which led to eventually an eating disorder down the road from childhood bullies calling me fat. So all of this messy stuff. And so my cognition was terrible. Growing up, I was in a fog school. Was very difficult for me. I couldn't ever remember anything. So studies were very hard. So I grew up thinking that I was stupid. And age 16 came around. I was like, you know what? If I don't have anything to offer the world, maybe I can be pretty. Maybe I can look good. And then I can offer that to them. So that's when I got into the gym. 16 is when I kind of got into the fitness world, and I loved it. I saw results, and it actually started to become an addiction. I was addicted to the fitness aspect of it. But I also started dabbling with binging and purging through exercise and also purging food. And I had always had an undying appetite, which stems back from the medications. Like no food was ever enough. I just used to soothe. But during this time, being 16 and, you know, I didn't look at myself as having an eating disorder. I didn't at all. So speed it up a little bit. From 16 to 20, I'm feeling good. I'm still, you know, on a cocktail of medications, at this time, but I was feeling better in my body. So, age 20, I got pregnant. I was young and dumb. I knew my daughter's father for 3 weeks. And I remember going to the doctor's office to get on birth control. And that is when I was told that I was pregnant. And the doctor told me right then and there, she told me I was stupid. She said, "You were stupid for thinking that you could not get pregnant." So here I am, 20 years old. I'm a baby, having a baby. I grew up in a super strict Baptist home. And in my family, abortion was completely out of the picture. But in that moment, that was it. I was like, I'm doing it. I am doing it. But I thought about it. And I knew in my heart I could not live with myself. And I had this moment, it was like a God moment. And it sounds really, really weird, but it was like, you know what, Meghann, do what you're supposed to, and I will bless you. And that stuck with me. And so during my pregnancy, I didn't gain over 200 pounds. When I got home from the hospital, I was 200 pounds. So I immediately, after I had my child, got back in the gym. And there I was with the disordered, gym addiction, eating issues. So speed things up a little bit, age 25, I'm doing what I have to do to survive, working multiple jobs, I'm nannying, and here I am absolutely miserable, just trying to survive. And I remember thinking to myself, who am I? Who am I? I have been on medications my entire life. What if these drugs are holding me back? I was on Adderall, also for ADD, ADHD. Like the whole world has it, because why would we all be able to stay focused in the fast-paced world we live in, right? So, but I was really taking Adderall to compensate for my exhaustion from the other drugs that I was on, because they made me so tired. I mean, I couldn't make it through a day without taking a nap, so I'd have to take Adderall. So anyways, I had a friend who encouraged me to research. And he was like, Meg, you should really think about getting off these drugs. I thought he was out of his mind. So I found a book. It was called Anatomy of an Epidemic. This book changed my life for forever. To sum it up, it was basically, what these drugs are doing to people, these pharmaceutical drugs that doctors are just so easily prescribing to us. And I had a moment of just anger and sadness, and my whole life just started to make sense. And I was like, oh my gosh. So what I did, I do not ever recommend anyone ever doing. I was so angry that I cold turkeyed off of these drugs. Very, very, very bad. I just didn't know it at the time. It messed me up for 5 years. I went through 5 years of psychiatric drug withdrawal, which is another topic. But if I can explain it, it's like dealing with a head injury. I barely could get out of bed, couldn't function, I couldn't think. But I knew that this was all part of the process. I knew that it was part of the psychiatric drug withdrawal, and the only way to the other side was through. So during this difficult time, not only did I have to work and be a mom, here I am with this sadness and this mess. And I did not want to play victim. Big Pharma had already taken so much life from me. I was not going to allow them to take any more. So I picked up the pieces and I said, you know what, I'm going to make something beautiful out of this mess. So during those 5 years of psychiatric drug withdrawal, I achieved more than I ever had in my entire life. I became a personal trainer, started to pursue fitness as work. But I was like, you know what? I'm not making enough to survive right now. So what could I do with my endurance and my strength? So I decided to pursue the fire service. So it took me about 2 years so I chose the fire service, not only for the strength and the endurance part, but because I can't work 9 to 5. I've never been able to work 9 to 5. I'll go freaking crazy. So took me about 2 years to get all of my credentials. 2 years to get them. And then I got my full-time position. 2 months into my full-time career, I had a really bad accident on the job. I fell backwards out of the ambulance on an EMS call, landed on my head, went unconscious, and suffered from a traumatic brain injury. And I came out of it. I was only unconscious for like a minute, and I thought I was going to be fine. And I wasn't. So lost my entire career. So here I am in this mess. I had worked so hard to dig myself out of all of the other struggles. And right when I started to think that life was going to get good, it got worse. So once again, here I am picking up the pieces. But it ended up being the biggest blessing that could have ever happened to me, because it was God's way of pushing me into my true purpose, which is where I am at today with coaching individuals to live better lives.
And how did you get into coaching? Did you always knew that you wanted to be a coach one day and help others going through the same journey as you and guide them?
So it's kind of funny because I remember, even, you know, before my accident, yes, through like all the other struggles I was going through in the past, I was like, you know what, I'd love to be a life coach someday, or some sort of coach. I just didn't know what that was going to look like. And so when I lost my entire career, I was like, okay, I knew that I didn't want to ever go back to working for somebody else. I knew that. And so it pushed me to kind of just like, okay, what are we going to do now? And here I am now, literally living my dream life, doing all of the things that I want to do and helping people. So yeah, it's kind of funny how it's so hard to understand all of the struggles, when you're going through them, but every single one that I have been through has made me into the person that I am today. And I can look back now and I'm like, oh, that had to happen. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So,
and I would always say, you know, your struggles, you know, make you who you are, and it makes you be able to help other people more powerfully because you experienced something that either they did go through or they didn't go through. So you can either relate with them or you can show them how they can avoid something. And, you know, right there alone, you're setting that example. So when you work with clients, you know, and you going through a lot of these things, what are some of the commonalities you see a lot with your clients that you are able to help them with based on your experience yourself that you've gone through dealing with these disorders of eating and the, you know, facing some of these traumas with the medications? I'm sure you get a lot of clients who you've helped them maybe possibly get off their medications or have dealt with these disorders before.
Yeah. So I think that I am extremely, extremely relatable. And I've been through so many different intricate struggles that I feel like when somebody comes to me, I can 100% relate to them, but I can also give them guidance on that issue or on that topic.
Which is powerful. It's 100% powerful. And I will tell you right now that one thing to separate yourself apart from other individuals in your respective industry is being able to find something you can relate with a certain target demographic. And right there, you know, you have that going on for you. So moving into the industry, you're starting your coach. You just came off these injuries. You came off these experiences. You literally invested 2 years into the paramedics, firefighting, you know, industry. And 2 months in, you get hurt, you have a setback. Where'd you start? How'd you start that coaching career? How'd you start the business? Like, how'd you find the willpower? How'd you even begin the business? Where'd you learn? Because that's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. So I, as I had told you, I had a really bad eating disorder. Did I tell you that part? I had a really bad eating disorder and sugar addiction and food addiction. And, in my world, I don't eat processed sugars. I don't. And I call myself food sober. People that are in my, you know, I don't know, food sober space, we avoid foods that hurt us. Sugar is like heroin to us, basically. We don't touch it. We completely abstain. And so when I had my injury, I had been food sober, and I was already eating extremely healthy and doing all of the things for myself, but I was getting in a very, very deep depression, and I was catching myself wanting to slip and going back into unhealthy behaviors and patterns because I was in a really bad mental space. So I recognized that and I reached out for help. And that's when I actually hired my own health coach. And also one of my best friends who happened to be one of my doctors, my health coach and my own personal, you know, chiropractor. Both of them, they were like, I remember being on calls with them and then being on my doctor's bed, just crying, just being like, I don't know what to do. And they were like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, where do you see yourself? And I go, I just know I'm supposed to help people. I don't know what that's supposed to look like, but I think I want to be a health coach. I think because that's what I know. I've gone through my struggles. I remember there was multiple times. So while I had been in the fitness industry, just not not what I'm doing now. And I had been preaching health and fitness or health and wellness for years, but I was not healthy. I was basically a fraud because I was binging and purging and very unhealthy things. So I called myself out on being basically a fraud. And I remember thinking to myself, if I ever figure out a way to overcome my own personal struggles, I'm going to help others do the same. And I achieved that. I overcame them. So now that, I had to come up with, I guess you could call it plan B and create a new career for myself. I was like, you know what? I want to help people do that. That's what I'm going to help people do. So that kind of my coaches kind of directed me and helped me kind of start my own business. They encouraged me to it. The one thing that was holding me back, Anthony and Brian, was fear. Like, I can't do that. I can't make a living off of, online health coaching.
Why'd you think that?
No way.
Why'd you think that?
I'm sorry?
Why'd you think that?
Fear. I think it was just, the unknown, which I have proven myself wrong because I'm doing very well right now. But yeah, it was a matter of taking that leap and jumping and believing in it. And I think, my coach, she says, if it's meant for you, it becomes almost a divine intervention. Your clients, they come to you and they find you. And really that's what has happened.
What's amazing is that I listen to you and I can tell that there's no fear in you. And the fact that you even went cold turkey, you took all your medications, you stopped, that right there for me would be fearful. And you were able to notice that these things were holding you back. I was actually surprised from what you said of it took 5 years to get out of that. I didn't know. Crazy. I didn't even know that there's a 5-year period like that.
Well, so this is the thing, and that's why I say do not ever cold turkey. If I had done a slow taper, which I strongly suggest, if anyone ever decides that they want to come off of medications, well, I don't want anyone to think that I am trash talking doctors by any means, because we do need them. But unfortunately, a lot of doctors don't even know how to safely taper patients. So there's a really good resource. It's called Inner Compass Initiative, I think it is. And it basically, it is a website that my friend Laura Delano actually created, and it is to help people safely taper off of medications. Wow. And I feel like if you safely taper off of them, you hopefully you don't have to deal with 5 years of psychiatric drug withdrawal.
And then there's another thing too, because the fact that you overcame that and you've challenged the fear and you beat it, a lot of people get hung up on the analysis of the business. They go into analysis paralysis. They start thinking that they need a lot of money. They start thinking that they need all these connections. They find 1,000 excuses, but to find an answer when little do they know the answer is in them. How important is it to strengthen your mind? And what are some techniques that you recommend to our audience on how to strengthen your mind to build a mindset that's winning, that's hungry, that's willing to take it to the next level?
Yeah. So I grew up most of my life anxious, afraid of everything, literally like debilitated anxiety. I was that girl, and it held me back for so many freaking years. And so what I say, if it scares you, if it scares the shit out of you, you have to do it. You have to challenge it. And you do that so many times, eventually nothing is going to scare you. Nothing is going to freak you out. It's just, honestly, it's practice and repetition and always throwing yourself into fire. I always like to say, what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to say no. Someone's not going to like you. Like, did you die? No.
Mm-hmm. I tell people all the time, the best way to figure something out, or the best way to build thick skin, is by putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations that you know are going to help you succeed. And constant repetition of doing that over and over again is it's gonna 100% build a bulletproof mindset and a thick skin to be able to get through practically anything. So it's, the fact that your whole story from where you were, from when you started to where you're at now, there's a lot that you had to face, a lot of uncomfortability, a lot of moments of facing that, of going through that adversity, because it's not easy to fall into what you fell into and then get out of that multiple times. Now, when it comes to your clients specifically, when you're working with them and they're facing issues, what is the first thing you look at when you're dealing with a client, when they're dealing with disorders, bad habits, food problems? How do you start peeling back, and how do you start creating a plan for that individual?
So I always like to, because most of my coaching right now, it's health coaching. I do deal with I would say my niche. So my niche is the ketogenic lifestyle. And I have a handful, a lot of my clients are sugar addicts. The DSM, a lot of, in the world of medicine, sugar addiction is not real, but it 100% is. And so I think once I get into the relationship with food with them. Like, what does your relationship with food look like? Are you a moderator or are you an abstainer? So I'll give you an example of a moderator. A moderator is somebody like, if I gave you a cookie, are you good with one cookie, or do you eat the whole frickin' box? Or are you somebody that can have one cookie and be good with one cookie? So that's where I start. And then I get into the education, like really, really teach them on why we're doing what we're doing. Okay. So in our current diet culture, the majority preaches everything in moderation, balance this, balance that. Well, that does not work for a sugar addict. That would like be telling an alcoholic, hey, just have one beer, or a heroin addict, just shoot up one more time. It's fine. Like, it doesn't work like that with the sugar addict. So really educating them, working on the relationship with food. I'm kind of like a sponsor for like an alcoholic, right? They have sponsors. They check in with their sponsors every day. My clients check in with me every single day. They're sending me their food pictures. I'm educating them on why they're eating what they're eating. We work on emotional eating. So I give them tools to cope, but I think the education piece is huge, because the knowledge is power, right? The more you know, like the more you know about what you're putting inside of your body, half the time, a lot of people no longer even want it. Not to mention, so the processed foods that we eat today, they are literally engineered to be addicting, because if they are, what does that mean? That means more profit. So, yeah.
It's crazy because everything's interconnected. There's this conspiracy people have that pharmaceuticals connected to the food supply.
Yeah.
And
big food and big pharma are the biggest money, like, hungry industries in the world.
Yes.
100%. And I feel that they are connected because, there's these synthetic or genetic modified seeds that they plant that once they germinate or they grow or whatever, they die, and that's it. You have to keep buying more, and that's not a natural process. That's modified. No. And people don't know that they're consuming these things. So what is the future of food and how people should relate their eating habits? Because this is starting to become more of an awareness. A lot of people are aware of organic food. Then when they look at ingredients, if they see more than 4 or 5, they're not buying it. Do you feel that the future is going that way and the industry is going to trend that way? Or what do you think?
I mean, I wish I could say that, but I mean, I feel like huge, massive corporations, like, the fake meat, and we have moved so far away from health. Like, it's almost a joke. Like, people will, and it's sad too, because I think a lot of people really do want to be healthy. They just don't know. Yep. So I would love to think that we were moving closer towards health, but sometimes I think we're moving on the complete opposite, because, we got Bill Gates, who's friggin' pushing, fake meat and, all of these vegan products that are highly processed and so far from healthy. But what I think as health coaches, right? I think all we can do is keep just educating people, right? Like a lot of people will trash talk low carb and ketogenic. And I think there is a time and a place for it. And I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it is restoring people's lives. It's saving lives. It's reversing autoimmune diseases. It's reversing type 2 diabetes, obesity, brain injuries. I use that like it's a huge healing remedy for my brain. Some days when I have higher carb days, and a higher carb day for me is probably like 50 or 60 carbs, which is it's just me eating more veggies and fruits. I know that my brain function isn't as optimal as if I'm lower carb, because my brain functions much more optimal when my ketones are higher. So if my ketones are higher, if my carbs are higher, my ketones are going to be lower. So it's just, I really teach my clients to eat from the earth, right? Like, if you have local farms, shop from your local farmer. If you have farmers markets, try to, support your farmers by, buying, farm fresh vegetables, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep educating people, because unfortunately, you would have thought that COVID and everything that we've been through as a nation in this last couple of years, you would have hoped that people would have started to get a little more healthy. 88% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Who's at higher risk for COVID? With the metabolically unhealthy, right?
But they don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it because it's all false information.
It's funny because people who have cancer, when they're getting chemo or they're getting treated, the first thing doctors recommend is a low sugar to no sugar diet, because cancer survives off of sugar.
Yes.
Remove processed foods, more veggies, and then I guess eat more kosher or more healthier food. And it's funny because going back into what we said about the vegan craze that's going on, the fake meat. The other day I went to a supermarket here and I saw that a patty was like 800 calories, 700 calories. And that was just one patty compared to a normal regular beef that, it's being fed corn, but it's still healthier than eating a fake genetic meat that's in the
that's full of canola oil and sunflower oil. Yeah. Yep. Seed oils.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, look at some of those Beyond brands.
Oh my gosh. Or the little hot dogs that they do that look like disgusting little wieners. It's gross.
So how do you, let's say you get somebody who's been accustomed to that and they believe it's healthy for them. How do you start slowly getting them out of that and adjusting to a different, a much healthier philosophy and practice?
Yeah. So typically before every client signs on with me, I do a discovery call with them and I tell them what they are signing up for. With my program, in terms of a ketogenic lifestyle, you're going to be cutting processed sugars. You are going to basically be unlearning and relearning everything you've ever known. So if somebody comes to me and I've had this happen before and they've told me, I'm a vegan. I only eat, X, Y, and Z. I'm honest with them. And I say, look, if that is the case and you aren't open to new ways, then we're probably, we're not going to be the greatest fit for one another, because I am very, very passionate about what I teach. And most vegans, if you've ever met any, they're hardcore vegans. And you know what? If that's what you like, all the power to you, but I don't believe in that. You don't get the nutrients that you need in a vegan diet. There's going to be lots of deficiencies. So it would not be honorable of me to try and teach somebody keto vegan. So, and I'm straight up and I'm honest with them.
Now, what about people who are taking supplements like protein shakes, or they're taking like vitamins? Should they even think about doing that? Let's say they're not getting the right nutrients.
So another thing with protein shakes, you don't know, a lot of protein shakes these days have heavy metals in them and other toxins that you don't even know about. So one, I always try to preach, eat from the earth, not to mention protein supplements, synthetic supplements. I'm sure there's a time and a place for them. However, they spike your insulin a lot higher than actual real food does. Obviously, if you got nothing else on you, I'd rather you go for a protein shake than, going to McDonald's or something. It's a better option, but honestly, I think because, of our fast paced world, right? Everybody they want something now. I don't have time. Well, guess what? You need to prioritize. Okay. You take 10 minutes out of your day and throw a freaking steak on the frying pan. Like, it takes you 10 minutes. That's it. Like, how important is your health to you? Or you don't have time, go to a friggin' restaurant, order a slab of meat and a salad. Like, it's not that difficult. So supplements too, how much nutrients are you really getting out of that supplements? That's another thing that the Fitspo world pushes on. Oh, take your supplements, take your daily vitamins. Like I said, I think there's a time and a place for them. However, if you are going to be taking supplements, you need to be doing your research. Where does that come from? Like, has it been tested? Because there's a lot of people out there on social media that just want to make a buck, right? Oh, you want to do a paid partnership? Push my product. Okay, well, really, how good is it? So, do your research on the supplements you're taking, whether it's a protein shake or supplements.
Now, for everybody out there who's, we're talking a lot about your foods. For anybody listening out there, in your opinion, Meghann, how much of it, when it comes to your wellness, is food versus fitness?
I feel like it's like 80-90% your food. So take it from somebody like me who was medicated for 17 years of their life for obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD. I had it all, right? I take absolutely nothing anymore. So food is so much more. Your nutrition is so much more than just wanting to look good. It's got to be deeper than that. Like, how do you want to feel? Because there is so many people who are struggling with mental health issues, and it's a real thing. But what if I told you, what would happen if you cut out the excessive amounts of alcohol, the excessive amounts of processed foods? Like, your gut, right, is connected to your brain. So if you aren't feeding your body properly, you're probably going to feel like shit overall. So don't just dial into your nutrition because you want to look good, but do it because you want to feel good, because you love you want to feel good. So I always say the choices that you make today are going to determine the future of your health. Yeah. I mean, I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Metabolic Approach to Cancer. And in this book, it's basically stating that 90% of the cancers that we're seeing today are from the poor lifestyle habits.
Yep.
Ooh, poor lifestyle habits. And people need to start moving, because it's funny. When you're working or you're hustling, you have 1,000 things going on. All you're thinking about is making money. But when you're sick, the only thing you want is to get your health back. And
That's true.
And it costs even more money, it costs more money, because once you become a diabetic, you have heart condition. Now you're on medication for life. If something were to happen to you, your kidneys are failing, your health is your wealth at the end of the day. And it sounds cheesy and people probably say it way too much, but it's a fact.
It is. And so people and that's another thing, type 2 diabetes, right? We're in a huge epidemic there. And it's like so many doctors, I have clients who have reversed their type 2 diabetes. My father reversed their type 2 diabetes. And a lot of, doctors, right? We go to the doctor, and it's unfortunate that so many people rather pop a pill and take that and put a Band-Aid on it, rather than, hey, if you changed your lifestyle and changed the way you eat, you could reverse this. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to do that.
Why do you feel that is, personally? Like, is it because of the laziness? They don't want to put in the work? Is it something else? Why do you feel, based on the commonality from people you've worked with? Like, I'm sure at first they probably give you some struggle with it.
So I honestly think, and it makes me sad, like, you see somebody, right, and you want to help them and you want to fix them, but not everybody is willing to give up the things that are hurting them. They aren't. And I think you really got to hit rock bottom. Maybe not everybody, but I would say some of my clients, like some of my sugar addict clients, like they know, man, like, if I don't turn it around, I'm eventually going to have a heart attack. I'm going to die. Or I'm going to be having to be stuck on these medications for the rest of my life. And a lot of them don't want that. So those are actually some of the clients that I love working with the most, because I'll get on my first call with them and I'm like, yo, you're going to die if you don't turn it around. Like, get your shit together. And I'm up front, but I think that's why people like me, because I don't really sugarcoat it much. Like one of my clients, he's been with me for 7 weeks. He's already halfway off his metformin, which is a statin drug for type 2 diabetes, and down 35 pounds. And his goal is to be medication free. And I think that is a beautiful goal, because it's not just like, oh, I want to be fit and have a six pack. It's like, no, I want to be able to run around with my grandchildren.
Yes.
So yeah, I think another thing is our culture, right? We want it now. We want that quick fix, man. And nothing good, right? It doesn't work like that. A lot of people don't want to do the work. I think we've become too soft. People justify their terrible behaviors. Oh, I'm just going to have this. I'm just going to have this. I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. And then it's like this for the rest of, like, all of the time. It's this cycle. And I think people just have to be honest and real with themselves and say, you know, what's important to me? Like my future, my kids, or this short-term high that is not doing anything for me.
So Meghann, based on your perspective and what people you've worked with, do you feel society is getting softer? Do you feel society is getting weaker? Are you dealing with more issues when it comes to that side of things? Are you seeing more of that?
Yeah, I think our society is getting extremely weak and soft, and, you know, everyone's justifying, like I said before, like, oh, well, I just did this one time. And it's black and white. It's very apparent to me as a coach, somebody who has been through the ringer, who knows struggle, who has had nothing, who has lost it all. I know struggle, right? But I know what it takes to get out of that and to get to the other side. And it's work, it's commitment, it's discipline, it's dedication. And not everybody has it.
No, and that's the thing. A lot of people now in our society, like you said, they want it easy. They'll rather take the fat burner to lose weight. They rather do all these different things. And instead of being committed and understanding that life is about compounding, it doesn't start immediately. You just got to go and do it. How long would it take somebody, I guess, to see some results if they are serious and committed? Would it be like 60 days, 90 days? Like, how long would it take under your program?
I mean, I have super successful clients. Like I had one of my clients who just started up with me. He's been with me for 3 weeks. So I offer health coaching, and then I offer health coaching and personal training. I have had clients who just do the health coaching, and some of them have lost up to 30 pounds in 3 months. My coaching program is 3 months. This guy that I'm working with right now, he's been with me for 7 weeks. He's down 35 pounds in 7 weeks. I do have some clients who don't lose as fast, but they're doing all of the right things. I think especially women, women struggle. Weight loss happens a little slower for them. We've got hormones, and depending on how metabolically unhealthy you are, it can take time. But at the end of the day, if you are committed and you are devoted, you will get results, but you have to be patient.
Patience is the key. And I think that's one of the things that you are seeing when it comes to a lack of in individuals, where they don't want to go through that work and be patient to get the result that they truly want to get. And they just want that quick fix, that instant gratification, because everything's instant now. Everything's quick. Everything's handed to you through internet, through a text, through a quick phone call, through, because of the enhancement of technology. Which, again, there's great perks about it, but there's also setbacks. And I think that people need to understand that, and I said this before, the 3 things that you cannot speed up in life is your business, your health, and your relationships. If you try speeding up your business, it will crumble, right? You'll get somewhere, it'll crumble. You try speeding up your health, what happens? You rebound. And then you'll hit a wall. And then if you start struggling, you try taking the shortcut with your relationships, it's the same thing. So I think those are the 3 biggest things when it comes to, you have to put time, patience, energy, and realize it's a compound effect, right? So again, this is all mindset. This is all, prepositioned things that people have gone through in life before, traumas, but I think the biggest thing that people need to understand when it comes to learning the patience game is realizing that if you want something fruitful in life, you have to work for it. If you want something
100%.
real, you have to work for it. If you want something sustainable, you have to work for it. And if you want to play the long-term game, you have to work for it. I don't like working with people that want short-term success. I like working with people that have long-term success. And I think that's the biggest thing, is understanding when you're going to work with somebody, do you want short-term success or do you want long-term success?
Right. Yeah. And I think as coaches too, like, you know, we want the best for our clients, right? Like, we can give you all of the tools and we're going to be your biggest cheerleader. But if you're not showing up, if you're not doing the work and being real with yourself, you're not going to get what you want.
No, you won't. You definitely won't. And I think that that's what's going to really separate the individual, the work that you put in and the mindset that you come into it, which the most important thing is, I'll tell you right now, also as a coach, I think that that's where you also do a great job, is you know how to be relatable, you know how to be welcoming, you know how to connect well. And I think also too, where coaches can improve on this is make the experience better. Show up powerfully for your client, right? So that way they also have a want to work hard, because the way you show up for them. And I always say that connection happens in order to get coaching to where you want to get it with a client and help them get results. It starts with a connection. Same thing with a client wanting to put in the work. It starts with a connection. If you go with a coach, you don't connect well, you're not going to get the best results. So I always say the connection is key. So as coaches, do your job, show up powerfully so you can connect powerfully with your client. And for clients, understand the most important thing is be coachable. Allow yourself 100%. To be coachable. If you can't be coachable, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't want to be coached, don't hire a coach.
Well, a lot of people like to jump and skip. Instead of being coachable, they think they're already the coach, and they don't have the proper foundation and the information, the knowledge to help people. So it's unfortunate, society likes to breed a lot of instant success. You know, someone can go on social media and pretend they're something when they're really not. And I have the saying that over time, people are going to find out if you're the real deal, and word will 100%. Go out.
It's true. So Meghann, what sets you apart from other health coaches? Because I think a lot of people take this word health coach, holistic, and they think of this whole kumbaya, all this stuff. And look, I'm not saying, look, there's certain things, certain tactics where, okay, cool. But for me, you know, like, especially you, health coach, like, you're straightforward. You're like, let's fucking make this happen. So for people, what's going to set you apart from all these other health coaches?
I think, I don't, like you said, I'm honest. I don't sugarcoat things. If someone comes to me, I'm brutally honest with them. I'm also, a little, I don't preach balance this, balance that. I'm a ketogenic, life coach. I teach people how to become fat adapted, so they can run off of stored fat as fuel. But I also work on the relationship with food. It's not just about, like, when my clients come to me, most of my clients come to me because, well, either sugar addiction or weight loss. But the first thing I tell them is I say, look, I don't want you focusing on the weight. Okay. I want you to chase health. Keep that in the front of your mind. Focus on chasing health, and then the rest will follow. I think I also, the fact that I have been through so many different struggles, from eating disorders to being a young mom to a head injury to psychiatric drug withdrawal. I think I have so many different niches, and that I can relate with people.
Totally. And then look, most importantly, again, it goes back to that connectivity, and you have that through your experiences and what you've gone through, and that's why you're driving tremendous impact. Biggest thing here is, where can people connect with Meghann? Where can they find you? Where can they get access to you? Where can they start working with you?
Yeah. So honestly, I would probably just go to my Instagram. I'm the most active on there. You can find me at Meghann.Alice, Meghann.Alice. Just shoot me a DM and we can go from there.
Love it. You guys heard it. Now, Meghann, we're going to wrap it up with some fire spitting questions out here. We're going to close it with a bang. Let's make it happen. You ready?
Oh gosh, let's go.
All right. Number one, what is the craziest, wildest experience you've ever had as a coach with a client?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't think I've really had any crazy ones. I've had a couple people blow me off without friggin' sending me a text message, and I've been ghosted for a couple of weeks. But that's probably the craziest.
Tell us a crazy one. I know you got something hidden there.
Oh my gosh, I really don't. I
We got
really
Meghann
don't.
thinking.
I mean, I've had some male clients hit on me that I've had to put like total boundaries on, but that's about it.
All right. Well, the next question: what's the single best piece of advice you can leave off our audience?
All right, let's see here. Focus on if you're in a situation or a position in your life where you want to lose weight, have it be deeper than that. Ask yourself why. Why do you want to lose weight? Because I say, like I said to Anthony before, chase health, right? Chase health and the rest will follow. If you're chasing health, it's going to seep into all other aspects of your life.
Love it.
Amen.
Love it. Guys, you heard it from Meghann herself. Go get right. Go chase your health. Make sure you're putting in that work. And make sure you start with one thing from here that you learn that you can apply to your life. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but today. And that's going to create the compound effect for tomorrow. If you got value out of this podcast, I appreciate if you like, comment, subscribe, share, drop a rating, leave a review, because the more love you show us, the more love we can show back. Till next time on the Sweat It Out podcast.